What teacher that impacted my life the most is probably gonna be Miss Mulligan. I used to be really shy and really quiet, and I didn't really like talking, which where Miss Smith and Miss Mulligan come in. They both always like push me to do more and like embrace myself and like always like keep moving and keep doing things. So now I used to be this like really quiet person coming in from like COVID and all that, and now I'm really extroverted. I have so many friends here at Fitzgerald, so I would say Miss Mulligan, Miss Smith.
The Fitzgerald teacher that impacted my life the most was Mr. Busatel. He really brought me out my shell all the way since middle school, all the way till my junior year, and he just kind of, I don't know, he just kind of kept told me to keep going, and well, I mean, I'm here now, so.
Ms. Mulligan impacted my life the most because she was always a very positive person and very encouraging.
Which Fitzgerald teacher impacted my life the most would probably be Miss Cafania, because she's just always been there for me, like throughout all 4 years, no matter what. She's always helped me, and even up to this day, she's been helping me.
Well, the Fitzgerald teacher that impacted my life the most during my high school years will be Miss Mulligan, because of the fact that she was just like the best at everything that she did, and she always kept us up and running.
A Fitzgerald teacher that has impacted my life the most would probably be Miss Mulligan, because she's helped me step out of my comfort zone. I've never been a kind of person that's been in front of a big crowd of people and did a lot of crazy things.
The Fitzgerald teacher that impacted me the most has to be Miss Mulligan. I met her when I was like 14. Now that I'm 18, she has become a second mom to me. And it's not just, drama club, it's outside of drama club as well.
Which Fitzgerald teacher impacted my life the most is probably Miss Van Gorder, because she just helped me through a lot. She's like a teacher you can go to talk to and just like, vent to when you need it.
Teachers that impacted my life the most in high school was Miss Pope, Mr. McGuire, Miss Lametta, and yeah, I think that's about it.
The teacher who helped me the most, it was Miss Pope and Miss Lametta.
The teacher that impacted me the most would be Miss Pope. I'll go with Miss Pope.
Which Fitzgerald teacher impacted me the most? I would say Miss Mulligan, Miss Van Gorder, Miss Lametta. They all inspired me and pushed me harder to work and just naturally made me happy.
Which Fitzgerald teacher impacted my life and why? I want to say Miss Sonnenfeld. She's a teacher that used to work here. I adored her a lot. We really clicked when I met her, so I have a lot of respect for her.
Which Fitzgerald teacher impacted my life the most? Probably Miss Van Gorder, because I feel most comfortable in her class at most times.
My favorite teacher at mathematics.
I would say the staff member that impacted me the most at my time in Fitzgerald would probably be Miss Felice, because I was really confused about a lot of early college stuff, and I had a lot of questions, and I would pop into her office a lot, and she never made me feel like I was bothering her, and she would always really take the time to help me out when I was confused, and it was really nice.
The teacher who most impacted my life would be Mr. Michael, because he's always been sort of there for me and a great support system.
There are many Fitzgerald teachers that have impacted my life. I can't just choose between one.
The Fitzgerald teacher that impacted my life the most was Miss Davis, because when I went through a hard time during COVID and other things, she was always there and always helped me through it.
The Fitzgerald teacher who impacted my life the most was probably Mr. Busatel. He was one of the first teachers I ever got super close to, and basically helped me musically and emotionally too. That was cool.
The teacher that impacted me the most is Mr. McGuire, because he helped me with the majority of my work.
The teachers that impacted my life the most here at Fitz would be any and all of the band teachers I've ever had, because they heavily influenced the path I want to do in my life.
I would say Shakespeare, because he was just a really good coach and a really good person to encourage you when you know him.
Mr. Michael, just because I'm close with him.
What teacher impacted my life the most? I'm gonna say Ms. Roush. And not a lot of y'all gonna agree on that with me, but Ms. Roush definitely made me turn it around.
I think the teacher that really impacted me here in Fitzgerald is probably Miss Fletcher. She helped out with a lot of my college essays, and I thought that was like very impactful.
Miss Lametta, she impacted me the most because we're just close.
The teacher that most impacted my life, Mr. Nelson, just because, you know, his class, it was more like free and let us be more welcoming and stuff like that, just like this class.
The teacher that impacted my life the most from Fitzgerald is Ms. Van Gorder, and that's because how good she motivated me and helped me throughout high school.
Man, I got a few of them, but Ms. Van Gorder, I love her so much. Like, she's gotten me through so much stuff just by her humor and stuff like that. Like, she has a very clean energy.
The teacher that impacted my life the most is Miss Meta because I can just go talk to her about any and everything, and her vibes is just like cool.
The teacher that impacted me the most is Mr. Michael because he motivated me.
The Fitzgerald teacher that impacted my life the most would be Miss Cryer. And I would say because she's very resourceful and helpful.
I think all of the teachers have impacted me the most because everyone got along with me the most, and I joked around with many of them.
I liked every teachers I had in this year. I came this year, but Mr. Birchmeyer was like very friendly to me, and like I liked him. He's a cool guy.
Mr. B, because he was a really good teacher and he made class fun and he taught us a lot of stuff.
Probably has to be Miss Homage because she's the reason why I'm able to go to prom. So.
The Fitzgerald teacher that impacted my life the most and why would probably be Miss Rubel, just because she made learning very easy and she was a fun teacher that I really enjoyed going to her class, so it was never like a drag when I had to go to school or anything like that because she was my first hour, so I had fun, so she probably impacted my life the most.
I think that Mr. Michael and Miss Crotty probably have the most, just for the fact that like throughout my high school career they've just been there the most if I needed anything about anything.
The staff member that impacted my life is Shakes, Gary Scope, who else? Miss Lametta, and that's it, and Miss Smith.
My favorite teacher is Miss Lametta.
The teacher that impacted my life the most is Mr. McGuire and Miss Cafania. Yeah, Miss Cafania.
Fitzgerald teacher that impacted my life the most was Mr. Michael, Miss Smith, and Mr. McDonald.
The Fitzgerald teacher that impacted my life the most was Miss Rubel and Miss Smith because they were patient with me when I was late with work and stuff, so I appreciate that.
The teachers that impacted my life the most was Miss Smith, Mr. Bierman, and Mr. Michael.
I got a good amount of them. I got Mr. Michael, Miss Smith, Mr. McDonald, and Mr. Woj. They all impacted my life. They all impacted me because they made my high school like a very great experience. Like they opened me up to like new opportunities that I never even thought of before. It was like great.
The teacher who impacted my life the most is probably Mr. Michael. He helped a lot without these years.
Miss Mulligan impacted my life the most because she was the sweetest and she was always there for me no matter what, and she was always able to make changes for me when I needed them.
Which teacher impacted my life and why? Mr. Jeanette, because he pushed me to go to school for real, because I really didn't want to come to school, but he pushed me to go to school because when I go to college, I'm gonna face, and just in life general, I'm gonna have to wake up and keep going to work and stuff like that, so Jeanette.
The teacher that impacted my life the most is Miss Lametta because we have a lot in common. We've been through a lot of the same stuff, and she's just so supportive and has helped me through a lot.
Fitzgerald teacher that impacted my life the most is probably Miss Lametta or Miss Mulligan. Cause they both real nice. You can bond with them real easily, and yeah, they cool people.
The teacher that impacted me the most here at Fitzgerald is Miss Mulligan because she really made me put myself out there and get over my social anxiety.
The teacher that impacted my life the most was probably Mr. Michael because I didn't want to do my work and he inspired me to do my work.
The teacher that impacted my life the most, I gotta give it to my girl, Miss Mulligan. She has known me since I was very little, and she has watched me become the woman that I'm supposed to be today.
I'll say the Fitzgerald teacher that impacted my life the most would probably be Miss Mulligan, because she's very funny, very nice, she's helpful, she's loving, other stuff.
The person that impacted my life the most was not a teacher, it was my coach. And that's because he always had my back. I cried a lot and was very dramatic during my high school years, and he was always there for me.
The teacher that impacted my life the most is Ms. Tassios, and because I was going through a really hard time last year, and she was always there for me.
The teacher that impacted me the most has to be Mr. Busatel. He got me in a band, more or less.
Which Fitzgerald teacher inspired the most? I would probably say Mr. Herzer, because, you know, as myself, I want to become a mechanic, and he inspired me a lot.
Which teacher inspired me the most is Miss Karate, Miss Davis, and Mr. Michael, because they inspired me and motivated me to do better.
The Fitzgerald teacher that impacted my life the most will probably be all my teachers. I can choose.
The teachers that impacted me the most is probably Miss Fletcher and Miss Crater, because they were always nice to me.
Which teacher has impacted my life? All the teachers, because they were helpful and everything.
I think all the teachers impacted my life because they all taught me something.
Which Fitzgerald teacher impacted my life and why? Probably I'll say Shakes and Benny, because they pushed me to be better and become a better person.
The teacher that impacted the most for me was probably Mr. B. He's not here anymore, but he made me want to actually do stuff in high school and actually care. So,
I think probably Mr. Meyer would have impacted my life the most, specifically because of the whole 3D printer thing. He's helped me a lot and give me a lot of experience with like tech and stuff, and that's kind of the way I want to go with my life is you know, fixing stuff with tech and kind of cars as well. You know, a lot of the troubleshooting experience, those kind of things overlap with each other, so it helps a lot in various different fields. So I appreciate that.
The most impactful teachers definitely was Miss McKay and Miss Davis. Just good energy all around.
Mr. Michael impacted my life the most. He was just like a role model for me, being more mature.
Miss Karate had the most impact in my life because she always looked out for me, you know, did what's best for me.
The teacher that impacted me the most was Miss Davis, and she impacted me the most because she was always there when I needed her.
The teacher that impacted my life the most would be Miss Lametta, because she helped me through a lot with my art and career.
Fitzgerald staff that impacted my life the most would be Juwan Shakespeare. That's a great guy.
Two Fitzgerald teachers that have impacted my life greatly would have to be Miss Kreider and Miss Davis, because they're so supportive and they're overall just very sweet and down to earth.
The Fitzgerald teachers that have impacted my life the most would have to be Mrs. Rubel and Mrs. Davis. They made their classes such a comfortable and positive environment that I just felt like myself in.
The two teachers that impacted my life the most would be Miss Van Gorder and Mrs. Davis, because their classroom is always open and a comfortable space for me.
I think all my teachers had impacts on my life in one way or another.
I think all the teachers had a great impact on me one way or other. They're all the best.
Actually, all of my teachers has impacted me in many ways.
Honestly, all my teachers impacted my life, and they really helped me get through high school.
I think Tassios and Miss Davis impacted me the most because they're very open-minded and cool to be with, so it's easy to just open up and just be myself around them.
I would say Mr. McDonald. He's very chill, very open-minded teacher. He literally helps you with everything.
I would say Miss Fletcher, because she is very active and very nice.
The teacher that impacted me the most is Miss Tassios and Miss Lametta, because I struggle with Spanish and art a lot, and they helped me out a lot. So, yeah.
I would say Miss Fletcher. She's really nice and open-minded. I get to talk to her easily.
I would say Miss McDonald and Miss Davis, the favorite teacher.
I would say Mr. Michael, because he helped me through my first year because I didn't know anyone here, so he helped me a lot.
The one that impacted me the most was Miss Crotty, because she taught me my amendments.
Mr. Body.
Why?
Because he a good teacher.
The teacher that impacted me the most was Mr. Body.
Probably Miss Lametta, because I like how she connects and relates to the students and helps and gives good advice.
The teacher that impacted me the most is Ms. Van Gorder, because she connected with me and she gave good advice.
I'll say Ms. Lametta impacted me the most because she grows connections with her students and she gives advice.
The teacher that impacted me the most was Miss Cassage, because she gave out good advice and yeah.
Mr. McGuire, because he has good advices and help other students with their work assignments.
Mr. Nelson, because he helped me know more about how graphic design works, and I made some pretty neat projects out of that too.
The teacher that impacted me the most is Miss Lametta, because she's so kind and understanding.
The teacher that impacted my life the most, maybe Mr. Michael, because he himself, maybe.
I want to say Mr. Nelson, because even though he only taught art, he still made sure I was good with all my grades.
It'd be Mr. Hazard. He taught me what needs to be done in a car and stuff. I find him very helpful.
All the teachers, the teacher that impacted my life the most had to have been, say, Miss Davis. She took me in like a kid, so.
I would have to say Coach Shakes impacted me the most. He just taught me how to be a respectable, upstanding man.
Coach H has to impact my life the most. I mean, he's really inspirational. He teaches me life lessons, and he teaches me if something doesn't go your way, I mean, you just gotta live through life and push forward.
My favorite teacher that impacted me the most would be Garnett, because he's the one that helped me out mentally, and then he also made me laugh a few times.
The teacher that impacted my life the most was Miss Fletcher, because she was a hype teacher for real.
The teacher from Fitzgerald who impacted me the most is Miss Lumera. She's my art teacher, and I got to learn so many things about arts, and that's why.
Miss Fletcher impacted my life so much because she inspired me a lot, and I learned so much from her and her class.
The most impactful teacher from Fitzgerald would have to be Coach H. He taught me a lot of life lessons that I need to carry on throughout my life.
The Fitzgerald teacher that has impacted my life the most is probably Mr. Busatel. He's no longer here, but he got me more interested in music and stuff.
Teacher that impacted my life is Miss Murphy. Yeah.
The Fitzgerald teacher that impacted my life the most would be Miss Crotty. She gave me a lot of opportunities that otherwise I would not have, and just always believed in myself even when I didn't believe in myself.
Okay, thank you. Probably Miss Lumetta, because she helped me grow as an artist.
Mr. Michael, because he helped me with my grades a lot and academics, and also did me a lot of favors.
The Fitzgerald teacher that impacted my life the most probably would be Shakes. Shakes the one that got me into football for real, taking it serious, and just a funny dude to be around with. So, yeah.
The Fitzgerald teacher that impacted my life the most was Miss Lumetta, because she always kept me motivated to come.
The teacher who impacted me the most, I have three: Miss Van Gorder, Mr. Michael, and Miss Crotty, because all three of them helped me when no other teacher would.
All the teachers that I've had throughout my high school career, all of them have impacted me greatly, and they taught me a lot, knowledge pertaining to school and life beyond, so I'm grateful to all of them.
The
Fitzgerald teacher that impacted my life the most, I would say would be probably Mr. Busatel last year, and also probably Miss O'Higgins this year, because they really helped fuel my passion for music and really inspired me to go on to college to have a career in it.
Which Fitzgerald teacher has impacted me the most? I'd say Mr. McDonald. I had a lot of teachers who were great, but I used to hate math, and he is the only reason why I enjoyed math or understood math at all in high school.
Fitzgerald teacher that most impacted me is Miss Fletcher, who made me better English and made me better at like grammar, those stuff, and she gave me feedback on those stuff. Yeah.
Miss Rubel impacted my life the most because I struggled with math and she was there to help me every step along the way.
Miss Crotty, because I think the way she teaches just like really helped me, and when I took her AP government class, I think that also helped me with figuring out what I want to do in college.
Which Fitzgerald teacher impacted my life and why? I would have to say that would have been Miss Fletcher, just because she relates us to real life situations and helps us out with certain different things.
The Fitzgerald teacher that impacted my life the most is Miss Smith, because she made my high school years more fun.
There's too many. I would have to say the teacher who impacted my life most here at Fitzgerald would have to be Miss Cafania. Somebody who's no longer at Fitzgerald, Mr. Adam Busatel, and Mr. McGuire.
Yeah. Miss Crotty, definitely, because she's always there. She's a really nice person to talk to, and she's very understanding.
The teachers that impacted my life the most would be Miss Cooper, Miss Ramsey, and Miss Davis.
The Fitzgerald teacher that impacted my life the most will have to be Miss Chrono, because she's just cool, fun, friendly, and down to earth.
Miss K, because when I first got here, she welcomed me, and she the reason why I met now. So and kind of everybody.
I would say Mr. Michael, because he helped me through tough times when I was struggling with school. So yeah.
The teacher that impacted me the most is Miss Fletcher, because she's very encouraging and very understandable.
I would have to say Miss McKelvey, because she helped me at every possible opportunity to help me succeed and grow as a person.
The teacher that impacted me the most is Mr. Michael, because when I first got here last year, he was the first teacher that made me feel comfortable.
The Fitzgerald teacher that impacted my life the most is probably Miss Van Gorder, because she's always been a good listener and she's always helped me solve out my problems and see it through.
I gotta say Miss Fletcher. She taught me from 11th grade to 12th grade, and she helped me succeed in her class the best I could.
Well, I can't pick one. It's between Mr. Michael, Miss Crotty, and Miss Fletcher. They're usually English teachers and stuff, They just help with a lot of work, and they understanding teachers.
My favorite teacher was Miss Mulligan, because that was the class me and my friends was in most of the time getting in trouble.
I think every teacher impacted me, but the teacher that most impacted me would be Miss Kasaj. She always encouraged me to do the best.
I'd say the teacher that impacts my life the most here would probably be Miss Mulligan or Piercy, just because how friendly they are and how nice the experience was.
Probably Miss, how do you say her name? Is Kono, the pharmacy teacher, because she helped me a lot with the work and stuff that I've been missing.
The teacher that impacted my life the most probably is Miss Van Gorder, because she used to come out and tell me things, I guess, help me after class sometimes, I guess.
The teacher that most impacted my life is Miss Lametta, because she is there to give me art advice and also life advice.
A Fitzgerald teacher that impacted my life the most would be Mr. Booza and Miss Krieger. Mr. Booza, because he's just a fun guy to talk to, and he helped me learn about college and stuff. And Miss Krieger to know what career I'm going into for my life.
The Fitzgerald teacher that impacted my life the most is Mr. Brody.
The teacher that impacted my life the most would probably be Ms. Davis because she's helpful.
Which teacher impacted my life the most would have to be Miss Smith. I feel like she's the nicest teacher here, basically. First teacher I had a friend, basically. I felt like that's a friend, basically.
I would say Ms. Smith because she taught me how to do different things and persuaded me to do things I never did before.
The Fitzgerald teacher that impacted my life the most would be Ms. Davis because she's really sweet and helpful.
My favorite teacher at Fitzgerald that impacted me most was Mr. Michael because he really helped me chill out with a lot of stuff.
The teacher that impacted my life the most is Miss Piercy and Miss Davis. They both helped me with like my writing and how to be like cheerful and happy because you need that during high school.
The Fitzgerald teacher that impacted me the most is Mr. H. He helped me through a lot.
I think the teacher in Fitzgerald High School that impacted me the most is probably Miss Kasaj. Because I think Ms. Kasaj, she has a way of teaching that I really inspired. Her class was always fun to go to, and it was always fun to learn more math from her, especially because I dealt with math for my whole entire life, and then she just educated me in a different way that I saw math.
The teacher at Fitzgerald who impacted me the most is Ms. Kasaj because she was very caring and nice, and she made my first encounter at Fitzgerald very welcoming.
The teacher that impacted me the most will be Ms. Mulligan because her energy is like so bright and sunshiny, and like if you're having a bad day or something, her energy will rub off on you and it will make you feel better.
The teacher that impacted me the most would have to be Miss Crotty. There's no specific reason why. It's just me and Crotty always got along very well, and I could go to her for basically anything.
Well, three teachers in Fitzgerald impacted me the most is Miss Smith, Miss Van Gorder, and Mr. Michael, because I feel like I'm having the best connection to them in the school.
The Fitzgerald teacher that impacted my life the most is probably, it would be like Miss Smith, Miss Van Gorder, and Miss Davis because they were nice, and I felt like I could come to them and it didn't have to be school related.
The teacher that impacted my life the most is Miss Smith because she was always kind to me and she always had positive energy, which gives me energy at the end of the day, and she always just made my day better.
Well, I came into Fitzgerald High School in 2021, and I think Miss Kasaj is my favorite teacher because she is really nice and amazing teacher, and I got lots of help from her. I love her classes.
The teacher that impacted my life the most was Miss Davis. Yeah, Miss Davis. Because she's always like been there. I don't know. She's a cool teacher. She's cool.
A Fitzgerald teacher that has impacted my life the most, I would have to say Miss Karate and Miss Davis because of their advice and their warm welcomings.
The teacher who impacted my life the most is Miss Kasaj, and because she's very welcoming.
My favorite teacher is probably Miss Smith. She helped me through a lot during the pandemic.